Hey guys, and welcome to another live stream. This is round three's stream. Actually, you know what? I haven't posted this on Twitter yet. I'm just gonna post this on Twitter because I forgot, forgot to do that. Give me a second. I'm just gonna do that right now. Now, this is ahead of round three, and I have made some pretty big changes ahead of round three. So I'm not. Last week I didn't do very much. This week I've actually made some minor adjustments. So we're going to get to that, but I've made one interesting one, which well, I think it's interesting. A few people are a little skeptical on this, and a few other, what's it called? A few other podcasters have said that this is not something that they personally would do, but I'm still going to give it a go, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So I'm just going to post this on Twitter because I did forget to do this. I'm live on Twitch. Oops. Uh, Giving you round three super. I know that you can see this, but updates. Okay, and we're just going to post that here. I'm live on Twitch now. That is different. Cool. And that should do it. Awesome. So that has been tweeted out. Now, I just want to point this out earlier today. So Stephen May has called Jack Viney's cartoon. It's an anime a cartoon, and Jack Viney has threatened to punch him. I think that's completely I think that's completely fair enough. I'm just going to assume that this was Jack Viney's response to Stephen May. That, and then he slapped him. Yeah, that's my own joke. I don't care. I'm gonna laugh at it. I don't give a shit. But I had a pretty decent round last week, and here's the thing. Last week I said that I was gonna put Lachie Neale as my captain, and then last minute I decided to not do that because Jack McRae scored 142 points on Friday, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with the safe option, and I'm just gonna pick Jack McRae because let's be honest, 142 points, it's pretty fantastic, and let's be real. Most of the time, you're not going to get much better than that. And trying to do that is a huge risk. So I just took the 142 points. I loopholed him. And I just took, I put him as VC. And I took the 142 points. And then Lachie Neale just scores 198. Almost 200 points. And I realized that as a result, I've missed out on an additional 112 points that I could have had after the double score. So, and that would have given me a huge score leading into round two. I still scored well. Like, I'm pretty happy with my score. I was still in the mid 2,300s, so I'm still happy with that, especially considering Dustin Martin missed out. So, I had a star player miss out, and I still managed to score a decent score like that. So I am very happy with the result. Just not as happy as I would have been had I have, gone the Lachie Neale. Another thing is I didn't trade out Dustin Martin as discussed last week because, he was actually named. He was named to play despite the doubt in him playing. So it wasn't confirmed until very late on the Friday, and it was just before the Sydney game. And I thought, you know what? And honestly, I was on the way out for the weekend. I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna play Jack Hayes up forward. I'm just gonna go with Jack Hayes up forward instead of. Is his name Jack Hayes, or did I just assume it is Jack Hayes? Okay, perfect. I've just gone with Jack Hayes up forward instead because he scored really well last week and he did okay, 68. I'll accept it. I probably could have got, if I did the Isaac Heaney trade for Dustin Martin like I wanted, I would have had an additional. What is that? An additional 72 points. So maybe I should have done that. If I had done the Lachie Neale captaincy like I wanted and the Isaac Heaney trade like I wanted, but for some reason last minute decided just not to do any of the things that I advised doing. Don't know why. I would have ended up with a. How much would I have ended up with? I would have ended up with almost 2,500, which would have been around the 2,500 mark. And I would have been in a very, very big position. I would have been pretty, not the best round of the week, but I would have been pretty close to it. I would have been within 50 points of that. And that's pretty big figures. And I'm very disappointed I didn't go with my own advice and I didn't do that. So this week I've decided to actually make some changes and I've used a boost. As you can see here, I've gone 3 trades for the week, which is absolutely insane. I haven't done that before in round 3 or leading into round 3. These are the trades I am making. Let's take a look. Am I still online? Because I'm glitching at the moment. Can you guys even see my screen still? Let's take... I don't think you can. I think there's been some sort of glitch. Oh, no, you can see my screen. Fantastic. So whatever happened. I think it might be down on reception here, but that's all right. So this is the trade I'm making. I'm making a Lockie Whitfield Lockie Whitfield trade out because I am sick of Lockie Whitfield. I'm sorry, but he's looking injured. He's not looking good. He's only scored 79 points in round 1 and then a 70 points in round 2. I reckon he copped an injury halfway through the game in round 1 because he was dominating up until half time. He did really well up until half time. I think he scored 60 something points up until half time and then was just absent for the rest of the game. I reckon he's got an injury niggle that is not bad enough for him to be missing out, but it's also not great when it comes to SuperCoach, especially when you're forking out 502k for him. So I've traded out Lockie Neal for Hewitt, who is absolutely dominating at the moment. And I know that I had some doubts with Hewitt at the start of the year when Carlton's midfield is all available. You know, yes, they got Walsh back last week, but then they lost Chera because of health and safety protocols. They still don't have Ed Curnow back. But I don't think that's going to change too much because Chera is a very different player to Hewitt. Kernow's a bit similar, but I'd probably pick Hewitt over him anyway, so I don't think this is going to have massive repercussions. Yeah, his average will probably drop a little bit, but he's still probably going to be around the 90 mark, and considering I'm picking him up for under 400k, that's decent, and he'll probably end up being my 6th defender by the end of the year. Hopefully, as long as his form continues approximately around this level, to 90s and he doesn't really get injured, he's probably going to be my D6. He's not going to be my D4 like he is currently. The next player that I'm removing is Dustin Martin because there's not only did he miss last week, but there's been more rumors spread that I saw a rumor that he could retire, which I doubt. I really just doubt that he's just going to randomly do an Alex Rance and just retire immediately. He might take a prolonged exit, and because there's no time frame on when he might return, he could play this week. Or he could not. He could just not play until next year. We don't really know. So we're going to have to just kind of wait and see what happens out of the Dustin Martin situation. Personally, I'm not willing to wait when I have spent 500k on a player, especially when there's a player like Isaac Heaney who I don't have that is averaging huge numbers like 140 points a game and is playing a primarily midfield role as well as a forward role. So I've gone Isaac Heaney. Why not? Now Will Malera, he played Shatehouse in round 1, and you know what? He didn't play in round 2, and I've got some extra cash from the Lockie Whitfield and Dustin Martin reductions. So why not? I've decided to use it on Hayden Young. Now, Hayden Young. Who is Hayden Young? Let's take a look. Now, Hayden Young. Now, I can't remember what draft pick he was. Hayden Young. There he is. Hayden Young was the 7th selection in the 2019 AFL draft. He hasn't played many AFL games. He just hasn't played many AFL games, but I'm not too concerned about that. So he only played 5 games in 2020 before copping an injury. That big round 4 score, though, against Gold Coast is impressive. Then he played in 2021. He recovered from the injury, started with 88. That's, again, impressive. 61-18. Again, that injury just hit him hard here. Then he missed most of the year. Came back in round 19 where he got a Rising Star nomination. And then 117 in round 20, 94, 71, 112. If you look at his last 4 games, that's insane. Or did he get around? I don't know. He got a Rising Star nomination here in the last month or so of footy. Um, and that's a really good average. And that bumped him up to a decent 384k. I'm very surprised that they've started him at 418k. I think that's a bit over the top. But then he's come out. And the thing is, Nat Fife gave him a lot of praise leading into the 2020 season. Just before the preseason practice matches started, Nat Fife really gave him some praise in an interview. So already I had my eyes on him, but I didn't want to take the punt because his preseason form wasn't incredible. It wasn't bad, but it also just wasn't incredible. He's played 2 games this year so far, looks fit. He scored 92 against Adelaide and 123 against St Kilda. Now, yes, both those teams are shit, which could be why he's scoring so well, but I mean, at the same time, what else? At the same time, he's playing, West Coast next? He's playing GWS. I mean, West Coast are basically a basket case. GWS, they're not amazing. They're good, but they're not amazing. They're playing Essendon. Essendon's probably just as shithouse as the other two that he's already played. He's playing Carlton. Carlton, they're a good team at the moment. I think personally they're red hot for finals, but, let's not get too overexcited there. He's playing Geelong. I don't really rate Geelong, North Melbourne. Gold Coast are okay. Collingwood aren't that great. So let's be real. Leading into round 10, he's not playing very many teams that are fighting for finals. Collingwood, they look rejuvenated, but they're probably not going to play finals this year. Gold Coast look good, but they kind of look good at the start of the year and really drop off. Let's see what they do. They'll probably fight for finals this year, at least a lot more competitive than what they were in the previous years, but it's a long shot whether or not they're going to make it. North Melbourne are not going to make it. Geelong could potentially make it, but they could also drop off and not make it. Carlton, again, potentially make it. GWS, again, potentially make it. Out of the first top 10 games, the first 10 games that, Hayden Young is going to play, he's potentially only going to play against 4 teams that are remotely near finals contention. So, he could be in the 500k mark by mid-year, which is really impressive. And then, if let's just say he plays against Melbourne and Brisbane and doesn't have the best games, by the way, just saying his highest score against Melbourne and Brisbane are 88 and 94, and that's within the last couple of years, and Melbourne and Brisbane have both been massive finals contenders. Kato, how is it going? Yes, it has been a while. I've caught a couple of your streams. How have you been, man? Thanks for tuning in. Just doing some SuperCoach chats currently. Thanks for joining me. So as I was saying, he's performed against good teams. That 71 against West Coast wasn't too bad either, considering that was probably last year or the year before when West Coast were a genuine finals chance too. So, as you can see, what I'm showing you is that there's potential here. I honestly think, and I know that there's been a couple of other podcasts that I listen to when it comes to SuperCoach, and they've all said that they're not willing to take the punt. Well, you know what? For that price bracket, I don't mind it. I just don't mind. He's in good form. Fremantle aren't that great of a team. Like, they're a finals contender. Yeah, they look actually pretty good. They're a youthful team that looks good. I rate them. I really do rate them. I was going to go with the younger option in Chapman, the cheaper option as well, but then why? Why did I do that? Why would I do that when I could just go for a player that has been in the system for longer? The only reason he's missed out is because of injury, not because of form or anything like that. He looks good. He looks really good. He looks fit. Who knows? He might get injured this week and then I'll just be, eating my own words. But I honestly think that he is a genuine chance to make a big impact this year, and I'm going for it. Like, what do I have to lose? He goes up 100k based on his last 2 games. He's going to go up in value based on his last 2 games alone. If he then continues to perform against these average sides that he's got to go up against, right, then why not? If he can average in the 90s, which he is capable of doing, if he can average in the 90s, he's still going to go up in value. He's going to enter around that 500k mark, and if it's not looking good, I'll just trade him off. I'll just trade him off later. I'll upgrade him. I'm not too concerned. I'm very happy with my backline. And I think that he's playing better than a Lockie Whitfield. He's playing better than a Lockie Whitfield, and all these people are saying to keep Lockie Whitfield. I don't personally want to keep Lockie Whitfield. Paddy McCartan has scored more points than Lockie Whitfield this year. And he hasn't played in AFL in 2.5 years. That's how bad Lockie Whitfield's playing. I'm doing this, and I'm very happy with it. And personally, I think that he's a pod because not many teams have him. There are not very many teams that have him. Everyone's talking about his younger teammate in Chapman, and several other people like Luke. What's his name? Luke Darcy? No, not Luke Darcy. What's his name? I always forget his name. Luke Ryan. There he is. Everyone's talking about Luke Ryan, so I'm not really concerned. I'm going for it. Why not? I'm good. Moved to my own place now. Oh, nice. Congratulations, man. You renting, purchased? Oh, you don't have to tell me that. That's fine. I'm just I'm a banker by trade, so it's probably the first thing that I think of, to be honest. No, but good to hear from you, man. Thanks for joining in on the stream. Let's take a look. As I said, so I brought in Heaney, I've brought in Young, I've brought in, I forgot who I brought in, Hewitt. I think that I've made some pretty good trades, and I am ready for a big round. I'm going to keep Hayes in. Hayes is playing, if he plays, against Richmond. Nankervis and Solder are both competitive beasts, so I don't think he's going to score 100 plus points, but at the same time, I don't think Nick Martin's going to score 100 plus points again against Melbourne. And I think Rochelle might struggle against his opponent too. Where is he playing again? He's playing against Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. Port looked terrible last week, but at the same time, he's a small forward. I've never really liked playing young rookie small forwards on my field unless I have to. So I'm just going to go with the Hayes probably instead. We'll see what happens. I guess we're just going to have to see what happens. I'm just going to take the punt on him. Will Brodie looked really impressive. Caniglia looked amazing. Dunkley looked good at after half time. I actually am really happy with his forward line at the moment. You know, I personally, I can see me holding a Butters, Heaney, and Dunkley all year. Probably move Caniglia, Brodie, and Hayes on later on, most likely. My midfield is stacked. I know that a lot of people are talking about Petrarca. Petrarca's form has been incredible, and I honestly think that if you don't have Petrarca, probably go for him. And I'd love to do that, but I don't believe that I'm in the position to make that trade. Personally, I think my backline is really lacking, and I'd rather make, the Malera trade. The Malera pickup didn't work. Then there was the Whitfield pickup. He's going to really plummet in value. Unless he scores like 150 points or something stupid this week. He's going to plummet in value. So I personally, I'm bailing on both those guys, and I'm correcting my backline. I don't have the luxury to correct or to make any upgrades to my midfield yet. But personally, I think my midfield looks amazing anyway. McRae, superstar. Miller, superstar. I know they're not really, they're the most generic players that I could possibly have, but there's a reason why they're generic. It's because they're guns. Neil, obviously, he's been incredible, and I've had him since since we opened. I'm not regretting that. Same with Cripps. Very happy with those four. Kelly is a pod for me because he doesn't have a high ownership, and he goes out there and he just scores over 100 points every week. Everyone always talks about several other players at his club. And you know what? And they're fantastic players. Everyone's talking about Tom Green. Look, I love Tom Green. I think that, he can really be a big player this year. I've gone the Rowell instead of Tom Green. And to make that trade, that's a luxury, not a necessity. And I don't think it's something that I need to do because I can see Rowell still scoring really well and going up in value a lot. Horn Francis and Dacos, they're just gonna skyrocket in value. They're already averaging 86 and 75. That's messed up. That's messed up for two players that have played 2 games of AFL ever. Two 18-year-olds that have played 2 games. They are some very high scorers, and they're just gonna skyrocket in value. Hinge actually has been a pretty good defender. Scored okay round 1, and then round 2 he scored 84. I like his wing role. wing defensive role. He's going to go up in value, and then see what we can do from there. McCartan, I've already given him praise. I'm very happy with this team. Very happy with this team. I've made those 3 trades, and I can't see myself making any more. Petrarca is a player that I'd like to have, and if you don't have Petrarca, then if you can get your hands on him, I'd go for him. But again, if you don't need to trade him, like me, I don't need to get Petrarca in. Don't waste a trade. Don't do it yet. I don't think it's going to be something that you necessarily need to do. I think he's a gun. If your midfield's lacking, try to get him in. But if it's not, then like my top 5 midfielders, I'm very happy with my top 5 midfielders. I don't think I need Petrarca right now. I'll end up probably trading him in after I've moved Raul, Francis, and Dacos off. That's what I'm aiming to do. The other thing is my ruck. I'm happy with Grundy. He's not setting the world on fire, but he's also not playing shit. I'm just going to keep him all year, as I always do. And then Witts, he played okay round 2, played amazing round 1. He's going to go up in value. I can see Witts, co-captain. There's a reason why he's co-captain, and I can see him averaging in those 90s and potentially getting close to 500k. Gawn is not playing great footy, and he's going to go down in value. And because he's going to go down in value and Witts is going to go up in value, I'm hoping that I can find a middle ground and just kind of... I know that Witts is not going to go up in value that much, and Gawn's not going to plummet in value, so I'm not going to be able to just do a straight up trade Witts to Gawn, but I could do a Witts plus downgrade another player that skyrocketed in value to then get that Gawn. And I really want to do that. Driscoll made his debut, though it was as a medical sub. There was a lot of talk about O'Driscoll. I think he scored 18 points. Can't bother to bring him up. I think he scored 18 points. I'm not really keen on him at the moment. Fife and Mundy didn't play in order for him to only be the medical sub. So if you've got O'Driscoll... I mean, look, if you started with O'Driscoll, just keep him. Just leave him on your bench, I suppose, and hope that he goes up in value and actually gets some game time. But if you didn't start with him, I wouldn't be bringing in O'Driscoll, especially with Mundy most likely coming back this week, and Fife hopefully not being too far away as well. So I wouldn't go for... I wouldn't be, Driscoll's not a player that you desperately need to have. I'm hoping Denoing comes back this week, personally. Jipkiss actually looks okay. I'm very happy with them. Ward on the bench looks good. These sort of players, they're going to go up in value over the course of the year. Don't trade out a player like a Denoing, for example, for O'Driscoll. Not worth it. I think O'Driscoll's just... I think that he'll be a good player one day, but I don't think he's a must-have. And if you didn't start with him, don't trade him out. Don't trade him in now. So let's take a look at my draft league, which is doing quite shit. To be frank, at the moment, I am not doing well. I have not started the season well. I've had a pretty average... a very average start to the year. I decided to do a master move. This is me on Twitter. I'll show you what I did. Where is it? Where is it? I did tweet about it. Here it is. So this is what I did. I traded out Kernout just before the start of the round, and 48 hours after I make this trade, this is what happens. Kernout scores 110, and Stengel, the guy that I brought in, scores an amazing 13 points. Fuck you, Stengel. All preseason I said that Stengel was overrated hype, and then I got sucked into it for my draft league. And what happens? I thought maybe he got injured. He didn't get injured. He just had 6 disposals and kicked it behind. He just played shithouse. And honestly, he is so overrated. I just cannot believe that I fell for Stengel. And I'm actually really disappointed that I fell for Stengel as well. I'm really disappointed that I fell for Stengel. But look, I've done it now. Hopefully he plays better, suppose. Who did Geelong play? Geelong play Collingwood. I mean, he might play okay against Collingwood. I'm going to keep him out. One player that I'm really happy about is Mitch Lewis. That's another player that I've got I'm putting a lot of faith in at the moment. He's averaging 100 points. Like, look at this. I brought him into the team after his round one performance. He got 110 against North Melbourne, and then he followed up with a 90 against Port Adelaide. I'm really liking him. He's a bit too expensive, probably for Classic League. At the moment, he's just a little bit too pricey for me. Like right now, what would he be in? Let's take a look. Mitch Mitch Lewis is just, they're not going to show me his price. Of course, they're not going to show me his price. Why are they not going to show me his price? Yeah, look, I wouldn't pick him. I wouldn't pick him for the team, unless I wouldn't pick him for your team, like bringing him in at the moment because he is quite pricey. In Classic, I'm just gonna bring him here. I think that is great for draft. If he's not drafted, pick him in. Put him in your team. If he's not drafted, put him in your team. He's in their best 22, and let's be real. See 358 for a forward only. It's pretty expensive. For a guy like that, he's never really had a season where he's averaged well. This has been he's probably his best two games back to back that we've ever seen. So I'm not, completely sold on him when it comes to a Classic, but he'd be a point of difference. And he's going to go up in value for in the form that he's playing. He's obviously got a slightly different role now that, Mitchell is in charge instead of Clarkson. Keep your eyes out on him. Just keep him in your watch list. Because I don't think he's a player that I don't think he's a necessity. There are other players that you can get in your forward line. But for a draft league, fuck it. Just go for him, honestly. Just seriously, just go for him. I've got a lot. Grundy's my captain still, and I'm going to stick with it. He was my number one pick. I think I had pick 3 in my draft league, and I picked Grundy up. And I'm happy with that. I'm just going to stick with that as my captain. Tim Kelly, he seemed still a bit groggy, probably from the COVID scare. Cochin, actually did all right. Stevenson did amazing. Limbinski, yeah, he did okay. So wrong. I'm really glad that I didn't end up going with him for my Classic League. I'm still going to keep him for his scoring potential in my draft league. See what happens. Mundy did an amazing job round 1. He's back round 2. I really need him to play. My backline I'm pretty happy with. I actually went with the Chapman in the back half for the draft league. A player that I'm really keen on is Brad Hill. That's the thing. So I was tempted to go either Hayden Young or Brad Hill when it came to my Classic. And honestly, I went with the Young over Hill. And the thing is, Brad Hill, 97.89, he's playing decent footy, and he's cheaper than Hayden Young, but I don't know. I've seen him burn coaches before. He burnt me as well in the past. He is a gun footballer, and I'm really liking the way he's playing football right now. But can he keep it up? I don't know. I really don't. I think he's going to go up in value soon. I'd like to see him play this way consistently. The other thing is when Hunter Clark comes back around mid-year, can Brad Hill continue this level of football with Hunter Clark most likely taking that role off Hill? I don't know. Look, at the moment, I think that the players the point of differences that no one is really talking about for me is Brad Hill. If you really, want to go down the road, let's just say you're not interested in Hayden Young, but you want some sort of point of difference. Brad Hill could really be that point of difference because there aren't that many teams that own him. Mitch Lewis is another one for your forward line that could be a point of difference, but he is a big risk. He is a super risk. Huge risk. But you know what? Could be good. I've got him in my draft league and I'm happy. And then I've also, Hayden Young, I think, could be a real point of difference. I'm taking the punt on the young Hayden Young. I've obviously got the other two in my draft league, so I'll keep an eye on them through that method. I've still got some decent players. I got Green to come back. Hopefully Martin's not out for too long. So, I know my draft league doesn't sound amazing, but it is a great way to keep an eye on players. I don't have many options for a trade at the moment. I'm just like I'm gonna look, select a player, free agents. There's just not much. There's really just not much. No one that I am keen to bring in. Really, there's just not much that I'm keen to bring in. I mean, Adam Tomlinson, maybe, like maybe. He didn't score amazing round one, so that's the issue with him. He's been in the system for a long time. He played 7 games last year. His scoring wasn't incredible last year either. So I don't know. I really don't. I don't. He's just not. Nah, not for me. It's just not for me. Larky the same. He had a great game, but can he do it again? Probably not. And he played against West Coast, and West Coast are a basket case at the moment. Josh Walker. I mean, maybe could be that player. Again, he's been in the system for a long time. He can play good footy, I suppose. He's not a huge scorer though, so that's the annoying thing. I think I don't see the point in trading, in Josh Walker. Let's see, what's he averaging? He's not averaging great. He's not playing that great at footy. No. So that's the thing. I don't really have many options down back. There's not really that many options. Kane Turner. No, there's just not much. There's Hinge, but no. It's just no. Pierce actually looks kind of impressive, but again, I'm not too sold on him either. Let's take a look at his sort of form. What was his round 1 like? No, definitely not. See, I'm not sold on anyone, really. I'm just not. Turner, 33. Like they're massive differences. They just average score 49. Like, fuck me, right? Like, no, it's not happening. I think that I'm just gonna have to stick with the fact that I've gone on Liam Baker. Who's Richmond playing this week? Richmond are playing St Kilda. Yeah, I might actually just put Baker in the team just because of how bad St Kilda are. But I think that Chapman's just been playing better footy, so I'm probably just gonna leave him in the team. And this is the first time I've done draft league, and I'm not having a great time. I'm just not. I'm hoping Stengel can bounce back from his 13. Obviously, if he doesn't play, then I'm just gonna have to do something. And I guess we'll see how that goes. But classic team. This is what I'm going with. I'm pretty happy with the 3 trades that I've made. I post quite regularly on my Twitter. I didn't post very much this round, like updates and all that sort of stuff. I didn't post very much this round because, well, I'm going to be honest, it was my Bucks, and I got really drunk, and I shouldn't be anywhere near Twitter after being really drunk during my Bucks, so I decided not to post too much. But I usually do post, so you can give us a follow there if you'd like. This will be up on YouTube later, so if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe if you've watched this. And I'll be back next week as well. And thus far, thanks for watching. Kato, thanks for joining me earlier, and the other couple of people that did join me that I could see that didn't speak, but I saw you there. It's just that you didn't join me. But thanks anyway for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Catch you later.